So now I'll just say resume and let it execute the rest of the code. So now the code flows out into completion, and you see now that the thread is terminated and we're done. So this is a very simple example of how to debug, but it's such a powerful tool, and I can't overstate how important it is to know how to use the debugger. Now, real quick before we finish here, I just want to show you what the step into does. So I'm going to go back and do the exact same thing as I did before. Right click on the main method, go to debug as, and debug it as a Java application. So we have our breakpoint here set for the first line as we had before, and instead I'm going to go into the step into, and you'll see what happens when I click on this. We've now gone into a class loader.class file, which is part of the Java lang package. Not very helpful to us. This is code, I guess, written by the people who made Java, and the possibility of their code breaking is very slim. So it gets really complicated, and if you keep stepping into these classes, I mean it just comes to a point where I don't even have this Java or these Java docs loaded, so I don't have the sun.miscellaneous package on my computer that it can attach to. So this is what I get. So I just wanted to show you how that is not always the greatest thing unless you know exactly where you're going to be stepping into, and if you know exactly where it's going to be, then it becomes helpful. Like I said, generally not helpful when it's going to be the core Java code. So let me just let this resume out, and now once we let it run through, it will have instantiated our file IO class, and now we're back to familiar territory, which we've already seen. So I'll let that run through, and we get the same result. So if I were to add this file to the right location, hopefully we'll see something different in the code. So let me just go on to my desktop here. I just renamed it to text2, so now I'll rename it to text and say yes. And I'll rerun the program in debug mode. So right click here, debug as, Java application. I'm going to either, I could say step over or resume, doesn't really matter because I have that second breakpoint. If I resume, I get here. So now the file should exist there. So let me step over this one, and there you go. So now if we hover over our buffered reader, we have some stuff, and we're able to keep on stepping over. Now we get into our while loop, and you'll see that it goes to the first system.out with the line that's been read from the file, this is the line 1 from file, and we say step over again, and we'll see some console output. So this is a very good way to understand how your code flows. Very useful. I love it. Great way to learn how Java works.